Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to have you join us here on Inside Look. I'm Michael Alicea, Chief Human Resources Officer for Trellix, and my guest here today is D. Sangeeta, the CEO of Gotara. And Sangeeta, so thank you so much for joining us today. I think this will be a very interesting conversation. For those of you in the audience as you listen to this, I've known Sangeeta for going on maybe 12, 15 years in a variety of roles. And I was so fascinated by the company that she started, Gotara, that I actually asked her to come on and talk about it today. So Sangeeta, again, thank you for joining us. And as the founder and CEO of Gotara, can you tell us about your journey to create Gotara and its mission for women in STEM? And I guess the question itself also begs the other question, which is, what is Gotara?
Yes. So first, thank you so much for the opportunity, Michael. This is a great partnership that I'm truly looking forward to, and I truly believe that with partnerships like these, in difficult fields like cybersecurity, where there is always a shortage of talent and not enough women. I think this is just the perfect sweet spot. If we can address this, we could address anything related to gender parity across any field. So my journey to Gotara has been an interesting one. I always wanted to do a startup, but I was looking for the right opportunity and the right timing. And as you and I know, I've done different jobs in different companies where you and I overlapped. And I have loved being in corporate America. I have learned so much, and we've made a huge impact together in a variety of different jobs. Uh, Quitting Amazon about a year and a half ago was the right time for me for two reasons. One, it was the right time where employers actually started to pay more attention to diversity, inclusion, and equity. And they put their money where their mouth was, as I would say, just like Trellix is doing. And the second thing was I wanted to do a startup where I could truly make an impact. It was my passion and my work. So I don't have to say I'm going to work ever. And that's how I feel about Gotara. And one other thing that I would say is this provides opportunity just not for people at Gotara and people at Trellix, but a wider community to participate in this and make a difference in a way that is possible. As a leader, as a female woman leader in each one of the organization, I always wanted to give back. I knew how it made the difference, but I didn't have the time. And I wanted to do it on the go. This platform provides the opportunity for every senior leader and every junior leader who's trying to grow to do these things on the go. So you don't have to take time off and do this. You can just do it. So with that, back to you. I would if you can do a follow up question on this, but just like my journey, it's a big change for my career, and I'm loving it. I'm sure you are in a new career too yourself. I'd love to hear your story on how you got here
Well,
from.
well. First of all, again, thanks for asking, and I just have to say that you're one of the smartest leaders I've ever worked with, and so regardless of gender or anything else, I'm just going to call that out right now. Number one, and number two, I think you are right. If you think about the time that you launched Gotara, I mean, for cybersecurity, there are 2.5 million cybersecurity roles that are going unfilled, right? And the idea around this concept of diversity and inclusion is something that companies struggle with because they don't really think about it in terms of how do you bring everyone to the table, right? How do you sort of unleash the power of all? And I think with Gotara, it gives us an opportunity really to help women in STEM grow their careers, thus enabling them to be bigger players in the tech space, which then ultimately helps the cybersecurity industry. I think for me, you know, I thought about two or three questions, right? Which is leadership was super important for me. Like you, I've gotten to a position where I humbly say that I get to choose what I want to do in life. And having met our CEO, Brian Palma, and talking about his vision for the future, the fact that he wants to make Trellix an employer of choice and the premier destination for cybersecurity talent, diverse cybersecurity talent, really speaks to me from my background and the things that I've worked in the past. The other piece is I wanted to work with an organization that had not only that right vision, but also the right leadership, and that had really great, hard, transformational work to be done. And I think Trellix is one of those organizations that are really leading the pack in this space. It is so refreshing to have an organization that believes in the value of culture and how you bring that to bear and how you inculcate that in everything you do. So it's really exciting for me. Um, but as our discussion sort of progresses here, and I think about sort of those 2.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs, what do you think are the biggest challenges women face when entering or growing their STEM career, both specific more broadly in technology, let's say,
Yeah.
and then if you want to talk a little bit about cybersecurity and how you think about that, that would be great.
Yeah. So first, I would say both you, Michael, and your CEO, Brian, I think taking the approach that you're taking of people first is huge. Is huge. No company can be successful if you don't have the right talent strategy. And so having spent the time like you are on creating a strategy of recruiting talent and growing talent is a big deal. Is already a differentiator for you guys. And cybersecurity is such a growth field in itself, creating a lot of growth opportunities. So when it comes to challenges for women, and in fact, we did a Terra talk in Gotara about cybersecurity and how women should get into cybersecurity and how few women are. I think there are probably less than 10% women in cybersecurity. And one thing that I would say is, as far as the graduation of number of women graduating from college is growing. In fact, in many fields, it's actually 50-50. So cybersecurity, when you think about it, they're coming from computer sciences, electrical engineering, one of the engineering degrees. And in many of those places, it's 50% graduation rate. So it's a question of companies like yours attracting that talent to you to get the right percentage of women entering the workforce. So having the understanding of how to attract, and I will address that question too, because I actually wrote a blog on something like that, which how do you attract folks to areas like cybersecurity and AI/ML. But the more important thing is, so I think what I'm saying is recruiting has been made easier because universities have done a great job of graduating a lot more women. It's the women who are already in the workforce, retaining them and growing them is the biggest opportunity for every employer. Because you have 40%, and now in the pandemic, maybe 50% attrition rate within 5 to 7 years of their career. And they're leaving the career because of issues at the workplace. They are, on the surface, it sounds like, oh, well, they're probably at the stage in their life, they want to raise their families. Yeah, of course, we want to raise the family. Men also want to raise the family when they're at that age. They don't leave the workforce. So what are the things that are critical for us to have them stay? If you look at the kinds of questions that are being asked on Gotara platform, 50% questions are all about career growth and stuff like anybody would ask. 50% of the questions are about navigating and hurdles that they have to face. That is what we want to solve in this equation, in this relationship. How do we not only attract the talent, but keep them and grow them, create the pipeline of leaders where you have gender parity at every level possible. So that's my hope that we want to address and the hurdles that we see.
That's great. I think I think you are right that universities are graduating more women, but I think a lot of companies haven't done as good a job of really making a conscious effort to sort of recruit and look
Yeah.
at the schools, right? It's not just the traditional schools that we should be looking at, right? We might have to go to community colleges and look at those and see how there are folks there that have really exceptional career paths that we can help them grow and evolve into. And so,
So I have actually a follow-up question
oh,
on this
okay,
topic,
yeah,
recruiting
yeah.
topic. So I have my own thoughts, but I wanted to ask you, what is the purpose of cybersecurity? Why should women join Trellix? What is the kernel that you would give them that gets them all excited?
That's a multifaceted answer, right? Because you've got the fact that cybersecurity is the hottest section of technology today, and it's unfortunate and sad to say in many ways, but the world isn't getting easier; it's getting harder. And if you think about the work that we do culturally, it is purposeful work, right? It
Mhm.
is good. It is good work. Our job is to protect the companies and the competitiveness of our clients against, in many ways, criminals, right? And bad actors. There's a good thing about that, right? And if you think about Trellix, the one cultural aspect that keeps coming up is we're doing good, meaningful, purposeful work. So that in and of itself is a great thing. It's a calling for many people, and I think
Yeah.
for what I've heard from the women who work here is exactly that. That it is culturally a
Awesome.
great place to work. So I think
Yeah.
that's the side. So it's a hot industry with cutting edge skills and a culture that supports diversity and inclusion, but also stands for something purposeful and good.
Yeah. So, this is what I wanted to follow up with, that there are a few things that we need to do in order to attract more women into fields like cybersecurity. One, you hit the nail on the head on purposeful work. Everybody's looking for purposeful work. Women especially want to know, why should they work on this? What does it deliver? Does it make an impact in the society? And if you think about cybersecurity, the work that Trellix does, it's all about personal information security, financial security, intellectual property security, all kinds of security. It matters to all of us. We don't want our personal information spewed over the internet. We don't want our intellectual property stolen by anybody else. And what bigger purpose can you have? I mean, you are directly making that impact. And the second thing that I would say, of all the jobs, STEM jobs are the most lucrative jobs. Who doesn't like money? Come on.
Yeah, I mean it is, and I think if you can marry sort of, as you said, the skills, the culture, yes, the money, and the purpose, it's really an opportunity for folks in the tech space to self-actualize, right?
Yeah, yeah,
To be the thing
absolutely.
they want to
And
be.
one other bigger thing in this space is if more women work in this field, you will remove the bias that exists in AI/ML. What does machine learning learns? It learns from the past. And if 88% people are men and only 12% are women, they're going to learn the behavior of men, but things are changing. How do you look towards the future? So you have to kind of interject diverse perspectives. And so the algorithms that are better built for the future. They're not built for the past. So imagine the huge influence and impact women could bring in this field. And the other thing that we are learning on our platform also is, like, people say, well, I don't have cybersecurity background, I don't have computer sciences background. A lot of people are actually coming from very different background, doing diplomas or degrees and courses to get into the fields like cybersecurity, and they are being very successful. I can't tell you how many people are into data sciences that never thought they were going to be in data sciences. And data science is the biggest field right now that everybody wants to get into. And my hope is cybersecurity is going to be one of those very soon.
Yeah.
So I think there are lots of reasons for women to actually get into this field of cybersecurity.
So if look, I'm super excited about our partnership with Gotara and of course yourself, and using your platform to help grow our leaders and the next generation of women leaders in STEM. Can you help explain so how it works and how our organizations will work together?
Yeah, I absolutely will. And I'm truly, truly excited to work with Trellix as a company and also the talent within Trellix. I can't wait to start talking to folks in Trellix and really making a difference where a year from now, all the employees in Trellix and the leadership is saying, wow, what a difference we made. That's the thing that we want to drive. So, in summary, what I would say is what Gotara provides is a combination of mentoring, coaching, and upskilling, all combined into one called nano learning. So we provide bite-sized, relevant, and high applicability content. So people can, once they are part of the program, they come in and sign up, and they get 15-minute bite-sized training every day. And if they don't have time, they can always do it on the weekend. And we get an advisor to help be your guardrail, to help you understand what skills you may need based on the issues that you may have dealt with. Or it could be where you want to go. What skills do you need for going to the new destination you want to go to? And so we pick the right skills. You go through lots of learning and actions every day. The use cases we provide are very applicable. You may be running a brainstorming session, and we may have given you a use case and a bunch of tips on how to run a most effective and productive brainstorming session. You can go apply that next week. You don't have to strategize and think about it because we're giving you tools that are applicable like this. Pretty much 100% of what we teach is being applied by all the participants. And this is a program that's about 8 weeks of intense upskilling, and then you're on the platform for a year. So you use all the resources and you continue to practice, so you continue to build on what you have learned. And then you can come back next year and get another set of 2 skills. So our whole job is to make you productive, accelerate your career, and retain you and grow you. That's what we want to do.
That's awesome. Well, that's great. Look, it excites me because, for me, as I think about the future development and growth of Trellix, I can see the future in the sense that we have an entry level opportunity for folks to really get that nano learning in place, and then as they graduate through the program, there's other capabilities and services that the company then provides, so that we're constantly creating a culture of continuous learning and sort of evolution of our organization and the talent in our company. And for me, it's yes, it's STEM for women, and we'll grow that out to other areas. So I'm very excited to have you here, and I think Gotara is going to help us achieve that vision with the approach that you're going to take. And so how do you know that this is going to be successful in the sense do you survey? How do you provide an ROI on what you do?
Yeah, very good question. Anytime when you're doing training, no matter what training you're doing, it is very hard to pinpoint return on investment on training. And so we looked, and I'm a technical person. I have led technical teams, so I'm all about quantitative outputs, like how do you determine ROI? So a few metrics that we have created. One is what percent of people gain skills or improve their skills. So far our record has been really good. 96% of the participants improve their skills by 20 to 60%. That's huge. Within 8 to 10 weeks, seeing something like that is tremendous, where you have a product leader who was struggling to prioritize, to negotiate, and felt overwhelmed. And in 10 weeks, they feel respected, valued, and their work is flowing like it should. And they have denied some request, and people respected them and said, okay. And they are the youngest people in the team. And so that's kind of huge. And then when you see in a survey where the participants and their manager would recommend this program 100% of the time, that's a huge testament of what they're getting out of it. And we also have them rate our content. And out of 5 stars, we get pretty much mostly 4 and 5 stars. Anytime we get less than that, we immediately dive in and in fact talk to the individuals to figure out what went wrong. In some cases, they didn't understand what we were talking about, but in majority of the cases, we go fix those things. And the fourth one, which is also very critical, is the applicability. Have you applied what you learned one time or multiple times? So everybody has responded that they have applied. And more than 60% of the people have applied multiple times. Application is where the traction is. That is where you know your stuff is working. Then longer term, so this is short term. Within your 3 months, 2 months, you get to know this data. And longer term, you will see retention rates change. You will see growth rates for women change. And I have some anecdotal data. We've been doing this only for about 9 months, but within just those 9 months, we have 2 women that one of our customers shared went through our program, and their careers have already accelerated. One of them got promoted within 3 months after the program. And another one has 6 different leaders vying for her because she's so good. So we are not saying we are the full reason for everyone's success, but we are providing a huge input in their acceleration of the process.
Yeah.
So hope that answers the ROI piece.
No, that's good. Look, for me, it's everything we do has to have an ROI. Everything, you can't manage what you don't measure, and that was.
I love that. By the way, Michael, I love that about you. You're an HR person, but you're a business person. I like that when HR person talks more like a business person, then you can actually see the improvement, measure the improvement as you go forward. Yeah. If you don't have metrics, how do you measure?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and you know me that's my thing. If we're going to do something, I want to measure it. I want to make sure that it's delivering the right return on investment, both for the company and the individual, and that's also one of the reasons why I was attracted to Gotara, knowing that. You've led organizations with thousands of data scientists. We're not talking about 10, we're talking about thousands. And so you have this emphasis on data to drive outcomes. So I really appreciate it. Well, look, I know we're at time, and I just wanted to say again, it's so great to talk to you, Sangeeta, and get ourselves reacquainted. I look forward to Gotara within Trellix, and I look forward to seeing how this evolves over the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, no, thank you, Michael, for the opportunity, and to Trellix, thank you. And I'm hoping we're going to have a strong partnership where it's a win-win. Everybody wins. I mean, this is the best kind of partnership where you look at every stakeholder involved in this is going to win, and nothing could be better than that. So thanks for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, and everyone, thank you for joining us. I hope you found this interesting, and and you should link in with Sangeeta. She's a really amazing lady. So thanks again, and we'll talk soon. Take care.
All right, come and join us. Spiral up, as we say at Gotara.
Fantastic.